Hey guys, it's Joe here, the 50 something Dasher, with a special sunrise edition of this is part 4 of my 5-part series on customer ratings with DoorDash. And in part 4 here, I want to talk about tracking the negative ratings that you receive. So maybe not too many Dashers out there do this, but I actually track the negative ratings that I get, anything a 4-star or below, and I put it on my spreadsheet along with all of the other aspects of driving that I track on my metric spreadsheet. And I have a pretty a good idea within a week or two when a 1-star, a 2-star, what have you, will fall off. Now, if we all know, or maybe you don't know yet, that the ratings are a little bit different. They don't fall off after 100 deliveries. They fall off after you receive 100 customer ratings. So it's a little bit different. Takes a little bit longer for negative scores to drop off. Now, when you pull up your ratings information in the app, it shows the last 100 ratings is what you see in there. So in a really simple example, if your very first customer rating when you get started out as a Dasher is a 1-star, then it's pretty easy to track, because then you start building your 5 stars and you see, okay, now I have 25 stars in the 1, and then you see it go all the way up to 99, 5 stars. And it's super easy in that case when it drops off the 1-star. However, once you get over 100 ratings, well, then you can no longer tell. So how do you, basically, after you've received 100 ratings, how do you track it? Well, one of the things that I did is kind of sort of a waste of time at the time, but I called DoorDash support just out of curiosity to see if I could call them at any given time and I could find out my total number of customer ratings. So at the time, let's just say I called up a day where I received a 1-star, and I call up DoorDash, and just like with lifetime deliveries, hey, how many lifetime customer ratings do I have? And if DoorDash could have said, okay, Joe, you have 150 all-time customer ratings, well, then now I know I received the 1-star at 150. And then if I keep calling back every, I don't know, couple weeks, a month or so, just regularly calling back, I know that at 250 lifetime customer ratings, that's when the 1-star is going to drop off, and you could track it that way. The problem was that when I tried to pose this question to DoorDash support, this is kind of like 6th or 7th level type of customer support type of question. I mean, these customer, it's kind of funny, but well, I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to be mean or pick on anybody here, but it's just, that's just not a type of question that they're used to receiving, I guess, is the better way more appropriate way to put it. But I had to rephrase the question about 4 or 5 times before they even understood what I was talking about, because this is kind of like deep, like I said, 6th or 7th degree level type of customer support question. So I had them lost at first. And when the agent kind of finally understood what I was trying to ask, they said, no, there's no way we can't give you a number of your lifetime customer ratings. The app just shows the last 100. That's all that we can see in the system as well on our end. So that's that. Well, then, if that's the case, how can you track them then? If they can't give you a lifetime number. Well, it's for me and how I do it, and you can do this as well. After so many deliveries, after I got my experience in, got over like a couple hundred deliveries in, I was able to kind of see the frequency of how often I would receive a customer rating. So I've been able to tell that for me personally and the way I do things in my zone, it's typically 1 out of every 8 customers leaves me a rating, which, as I mentioned in the previous videos, I have a huge problem with, but that's, off topic for this video. But 1 in 8. So what does that mean? That means for when I get a 1-star rating, it's going to take 800 deliveries for that to roll off. And so far, since I've been doing this tracking, it has been, pretty much falls right in line with that. So now I have had a rating since I've been doing the tracking drop off like around in the 700s, like 750 to 800 orders. And this is all very general, like I can only kind of like do an approximate guess as to when something's going to fall off. So it just gives me kind of like an idea. But for example, I was on some other video, this has been like several months ago or whatever, probably in my early days of dashing. I was on a video, they were talking about customer ratings, and a newer dasher said that they received a 1-star, and they said, and it took forever for it to fall off. Well, for me, in my case, it doesn't take forever. Like I said, it takes 800 orders, and so I can track that. It doesn't take forever. I know that when I get to about 850 deliveries, somewhere in there, I know that it's going to fall off. So I know that it's not forever. So how do I actually do this? So I check my ratings. I don't get on there like every 30 minutes throughout the day. I'm not that excessive about it, that type of thing. But just every so often when I think of doing this, and you can receive customer ratings anytime. So even when you're not dashing. So I think how it works is a customer places an order, receives it, and if they don't do another DoorDash until 3 or 4 or 5 days later, they go to pull up the app to place another order, it's going to prompt them to give a rating on their last delivery. So you could receive these anytime. So like when I'm in between orders during my dash, and we all do this, like in between, or let's say we're waiting at a restaurant for an order. Anytime we all have like idle time, we're kind of clearing out our text messages, we're going through our emails, we're doing this, doing that on our phones. Those are the times where another little task that I do is check my customer ratings. And I know right away if there's been a change to it, because that it's something that I regularly look at. Like right now, for instance, I can tell you, and I might put a screenshot of this as well in the video later when I edit, but right now I have a 4.90 customer rating, and the numbers that I know right now is 227. I have 2 1-stars, 2 4-stars, and 7 exclusions. So, like I said, on my dash days, even on non-dash days, periodically I'll get in there, and then as soon as something changes, then I document that on my spreadsheet. So let's just say I log in here after I finish this video, and I now see a 3rd 1-star. So I have like a little notepad on my phone. I just quickly jot down 1 star and today's date, and how many orders, lifetime orders currently I have on DoorDash. And then later on when I get home, I get to my spreadsheet or whatever, then I record that information there. So I have, and then and another thing too, I'll mention on the exclusions. So those are, if you don't know already, those are the negative scores that you receive that later on, sometimes it's immediately. I've seen it happen pretty much immediately. I've seen it happen a few hours later. I've seen it happen a day or two later. But at some point, the DoorDash system, not a human person, the system will change that from the whatever negative rating, 1 star, 2 star, change it to an exclusion, and I document those as well. About half of the time, I know ahead of time what it was before it changed to an exclusion. So on my spreadsheet, I'll put, I just use E, the first initial. So I'll put the date E, and then in parentheses, was a 1 star, end of parentheses, received at such and such number of lifetime orders. And then I hope to, for the thumbnail photo for this video, I'll put my current, like the oldest, I don't know, however many I'll put in the photo, but the oldest 4 or 5 or 6 ratings, and you'll see how the information that I have, like the rating, how many orders I was at, date, and then you figure, like I said, for me in my case, that you just add like 800 orders approximately to that. And another thing I'll mention too is, since I've been tracking this, everything has fallen off in the order that I receive them. So again, I want to re-emphasize, it's not based on what order, like the date of the order that you did that rating was on. It's the order of when you receive the orders. So that's how it's easy to track. So basically, the order that I see the negative ratings and record them, so far, right on cue, that's the order that they drop off in. And now, lastly, I want to give my suggestion for how often these negative ratings fall off, because just in my opinion, asking, okay, DoorDash tells you if you receive a 1 star rating, not to worry, it falls off in 100 ratings, so it's not going to be on your record permanently. But in my case, for instance, you're talking 800 deliveries before that falls off. And I have a problem with that. So in those 800 orders, you mean to tell me I delivered like over 770 or 780 orders or whatever the case, where there's been no issues whatsoever. I pick up the order, I drop it off, and there's been no rating, there's been nothing reported at all from the customer at all. So they must have been satisfied with the service. But still, I have to wait, I still have to wait 800 orders for a negative rating to fall off. I do about roughly 200 to 250 deliveries a month on average. So you're talking bare minimum 3 months of, damn near full-time dashing before something falls off. So anyway, it's to my suggestion here, I would suggest, now if I was in communication with DoorDash with the powers that be, or I was on the DoorDash council, this would be one of my first suggestions for change that I would bring to the table. But I personally think this should be changed, and I tried to come up with a number of deliveries that I thought was fair. But what I came up with was 250 deliveries. And to me, that's more fair than 700 to 1,000 deliveries. So you get a 1-star, okay? Change that from where it falls off after 100 customer ratings. Change all of that to 250 deliveries instead. So you get a 1-star, then you go another month or two or however long it takes before you get 250 deliveries, and then that goes away. Okay, so you guys let me know what you think about that suggestion, or what other suggestions do you have, or maybe you think that that I'm just rambling about something that's just not important at all. I think maybe some of you think, well, I think he's just focused too much on the customer ratings. It's really not as big of a deal as what he's making it. All comments, suggestions, welcome. Let's see what you guys think. And I have one final suggestion, and definitely check that out. That's part 5. So check that out. As always, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.